Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. Some of you are really on time. Thanks for that. My name is Georgi, and today we are going to talk about health sciences and digital medicine in Germany. So I will be today the host, or mostly the moderator of the webinar, and mostly behind the scenes. Before I move to presenting agenda for today, let me tell you some things that you must know about. So when you look at your Zoom interface in the bottom part, you can see the button Q&A. So it is already open, which means that you can already send out your questions. If you have some already in there, it will be open throughout the webinar, even when the presentations are ongoing, so it doesn't disrupt this Q&A. And then we will be monitoring, I will be monitoring the Q&A, and towards the end, we will have a live Q&A session when the presentations are done, and I will ask professors to address these questions live. All right, so you cannot use the chat, unfortunately, but I would still strongly suggest you to keep an eye on the chat, because this is where, for example, I will be sharing some important links for you, or also the program representatives may send you some important information and will send you important information regarding the courses or regarding the contact information. So keep an eye on the chat and make good use of the Q&A button. So as you can see, I'm not alone. I will present our guests shortly. First, I will start with my presentation shortly about MyGermanUniversity, about some details when it comes to generally about studying in German that might be useful and interesting for you. And then we will move to our guests and their presentations over the given programs. All right, so let me share with you my screen. As I said, we are going to talk about health sciences and digital medicine. And about MyGermanUniversity, or in other words, about the organization which stands behind this webinar, it's MyGermanUniversity. And we are Germany's largest database of English taught study programs. If you go to mygermanuniversity.com, you will be able to find a database with over 2,400 study programs, both on bachelor level and also on master level. On the left-hand side, you can see a small excerpt of our study finder. And from there, you can also understand that we have added several short courses and language courses as well. The main aim and the main mission of the company is to help students like you on their way towards studying in Germany. And there are three key ways of doing that. So one of them is exactly our study finder. On the top left-hand side, you can see the word study finder. And when you click on that, you'll be able to see the larger version of the study finder with lots of filters. So you can find the programs, of course, according to several factors, for example, according to the city, according to the program name, or according to the university. Also, you can find programs according to even whether they use or do not use Uni-Assist, according to your score in TOEFL or IELTS, etc., etc. So it goes really into detail, and I would strongly suggest you to make a good use of this study finder. The second way of helping you is through writing articles. We have over 70 comprehensive articles on our webpage. When you go to MyGermanUniversity, there is a section of articles, and you can see on the left-hand side, for example, the special navigator, which helps your life easier in terms of finding the article quickly, according to your topics that you are interested in. And these articles are quite comprehensive, because there we make a deep dive into some of the details of some of the topics like visa, for example, or Uni-Assist, or some rankings of universities, etc., etc. And last but not least, we are also doing quite often webinars. You might already know about that. We have approximately 150 webinars per year, and also another type of the meetings, like not only webinars, but also just meetings with you where you can activate your cameras and mics. Today you cannot, but we also have such kind of meetings, and all of the upcoming already planned webinars or meetings you can find on our webpage in the webinar section, and you can sign up for them for free. And actually, I would suggest you to create an account on MyGermanUniversity, which is totally for free, and then you'll be able to unlock all the features that students can have there. And yeah, the webinar topics vary. So it can be Uni-Assist, it can be scholarships, it can be some application strategies or subject webinars like we are having today. And regarding our team, our team is international. We are counseling in different languages. You can see some of them mentioned already. And also we are not only in Hamburg, despite the fact we are based in Hamburg, but in different cities of Germany and also outside Germany as well. All right, so let me now tell you, take 5 minutes of your time, and then we'll jump into the presentations. So you can see that we have two guests today, Professor Dr. Georgi Chaltikyan. So two Georgis in the room, make your wish, and Professor Dr. Thomas Spittler. So Professor Chaltikyan will make a presentation of two programs on master level, and Professor Spittler will do presentation of one program on bachelor level. Before we move to these presentations, let me tell you some things. So when it comes to German taught study programs, and if you are more into German taught study programs, then I would say make use of Hochschulkompass. It might be useful for you. But if you are, and I suppose at least most of you are more into English taught study programs, then I would say MyGermanUniversity and its study finder should be a stop, because there you'll be able to find 90-degree programs for health sciences, digital medicine, and 87 of them will be master programs, 3 bachelor, and mostly it is English only, which means that you don't need knowledge of German at all for your studies. For those who do not know and do not have any idea about what it means to study, for example, digital medicine or health sciences in Germany, what are the rankings of universities that are offering these programs, what are tuition fee ranges that you should expect, or different requirements. So we have for these subject pages where we provide you with generic and general information about this kind of things. So you'll be able to see at glance what does it mean to study and what you should expect from studying health sciences or digital medicine in Germany. And I would suggest you also to use this page, especially for the newcomers. As for advice, I always say, yes, fees are important, rankings are important, city names might be important, but the quantitative metrics are not the most important things that you should take into account while you're choosing your program. Be more flexible, dive deeper, because in Germany there are lots of cities, lots of towns with great universities offering really high quality programs, and it doesn't have to be high in the international rankings, or it doesn't have to be only in Munich or only in Berlin. So take this into account. Otherwise, I guarantee you'll miss lots of programs that might be actually the best fit for you. And last but not least, the two types of universities that you should know about as a takeaway from my part. So one type is Universität type of university. And when you go to Study Finder, you'll be able to control for the programs that are offered in digital medicine or health sciences offered by this type of university only. You'll be able to find 65 programs. And the second type is University of Applied Sciences, simply called in English like that. In German, it has several variations. Try to read them out, not the easiest ones for those who don't speak German. But yeah, also in our study finder, you can control for that, and you'll be able to find 15 programs in this or related subject. And yeah, the main takeaway that I want you to have is that the difference in focus between these type of universities. So when it comes to Universität type of university, it's more about research and theory. And when it comes to University of Applied Science, it's more about application and practice. If you have more questions about some detailed differences that do not really matter that much, but still, and about historical background of these differences, please drop me an email and I'll try to explain to you as soon as possible. And yeah, one more suggestion and I'm done. When you are searching again for the program, because searching a right program is one of the key steps, if you ask me. So you should invest enough time, don't rush, and find the really best fitting program for you. And when you are searching for the program, also, for example, through our platform, don't be really strict in terms of wording, be more flexible, because there can be several programs with different namings, by the content-wise, the curriculum-wise, there might be lots of similarities. So in order to not to miss out any of the opportunities and to be aware and informed of all the opportunities that you have, please be more flexible also and play a bit with the words. All right, so yeah, Now we reached the most important part of our presentation, of our webinar. As I said, we are now in Deggendorf Institute of Technology in Bavaria, in south of Germany. And we have Professor Dr. Georgi Chaltikyan, who will talk about two programs, as I said, Master of Science in Digital Health and Master of Science in Life Science Informatics. Let me stop sharing my screen right now and invite Professor Chaltikyan to the floor.
Thank you very much, dear Georgi, for the introduction. And I'm happy to present the Master of Digital Health, or MDH, at Deggendorf Institute of Technology, which is based at the European campus of Berlin, which is the international campus where all study programs are taught in English. I'm Georgi Chaltikyan, professor and head of this Digital Health Masters. So as an introduction, what is digital health? Perhaps still deserves a very quick introduction. WHO defines digital health as the field of knowledge and practice associated with any aspects of adopting digital technologies to improve health from inception to operations. And this is a quote from the one of the very recent global documents that WHO published, the Strategy on Digital Health for 2020-2024. So it is a broad umbrella term, as we say, which covers the use of modern information and communication technologies in medicine and healthcare that encompasses e-health, as well as developing areas such as the use of advanced computing sciences, for example, in the field of big health data, in genomics, and in artificial intelligence. This is the global scope of digital health as we teach it and as we adopted this classification in our course. So as you can see, it includes quite a lot of different subdomains or different chapters, ranging from digital health records or electronic health records and digital health information systems, through telehealth, telemedicine, to mobile health and digital therapeutics, but also digital imaging, digital reality, the so-called modern technologies such as virtual reality or augmented reality, sensors, wearables, remote monitoring, and all the way to health data analytics and AI and biomarkers, omics, and precision medicine. The importance of digital health nowadays cannot be overemphasized. There is very significant challenges that healthcare systems are facing around the world, and those challenges are associated with aging populations, with a growing proportion of the elderly people living with one or more than one chronic conditions, as well as with epidemics and other public health emergencies, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, with growing healthcare costs that are expected to have reached $11 trillion globally this year, which is already more than 10% of the global world product, gross world product, so-called global GDP, as well as with the shortage of the healthcare workforce, and of course, with the growing expectations of informed citizens for better care and for more virtual care, for more digitalized care. And because of that, it should not be a surprise that the digital transformation of healthcare is currently a hotspot of policy, practice, research, and innovation worldwide, with tens of thousands of new jobs coming up. Just to illustrate how important is digitalization of healthcare right now as we speak here in Germany, this is just an extract from one of the presentations of our colleague, Professor Debatin, that shows that in the past, in the 3 years between 2019 and 2022, Bundestag, the Parliament of the Federal Republic, has passed 28 legislative acts, 28 laws with relation to digital health, including 6 laws that are exclusively focusing on digital health. We talk here about the so-called Krankenhaus-Zukunftsgesetz, the Future of Hospital Act, that is going to invest more than 4.3 billion euros in digitalizing hospitals in Germany, about another legislative act, another law that provides a possibility here in Germany, among the first actually countries in Europe and beyond, for digital health applications to be officially accepted by the regulators and to become prescribable and reimbursable applications. So this is quite an important move. There is also the electronic nationwide personal health record, the so-called elektronische Patientenakte, which is being rolled out throughout a nation right now as we speak. The telemedicine has jumped very significantly during the pandemic, as you probably know or you have heard, just like elsewhere in the world. Just pay attention to this figure. The use of Videosprechstunde, as we say here in Germany, the electronic or virtual visits, has grown, has increased by 1,370% in Germany compared to pre-pandemic time. If there were only 168 practices who offered telemedicine back in 2019, already in 2020, there were more than 31,000 of such practices. So all that basically explains the importance of digital health, not only internationally, globally, because, as we mentioned already, the World Health Organization issued this strategy, and the World Health Organization calls to all member states to develop strategies of digitalizing their healthcare systems. And such documents continue to be developed and published right now as we speak. Your humble servant, Professor Chaltikyan, is also participating in one such guidance that will be published soon this year by the World Health Organization on how to digitalize health systems and health services. Because of that, of course, we should understand that there will be hardly more demanded profession in relation to health systems and health services than digital health specialists. And so to these Masters of Digital Health. This is our flagship study program that prepares graduates to take over leadership positions and to drive digital transformation of healthcare, both here in Germany as well as around the world. The program is structured in 3 semesters, spanning over 1.5 years, up to 90 European credit points, with enrollment studies beginning once per year in October. So right now we are enrolling students for entry in October 2022. I have to say that the enrollment period, there is nearly or a little more than 1 month left for the application period. As of July 15, the application period will be over. We already have close to 700 applications from around the world, so it is absolutely good idea if you would be interested in studying digital health with us at Deggendorf Institute of Technology. Do not hesitate, apply now, because obviously we are limited with the number of students that we can enroll every year, and the demand is very high. Unfortunately, we can only enroll approximately 10% of our applicants, based, of course, on the application documents. This program features a very strong interdisciplinarity at the cross-border and the interface, as we always say, between healthcare and technology. So we enroll both students coming from health sciences background, such as including but not limited to medical doctors or pharmacists or dentists, or healthcare management specialists. And we also enroll people coming from technical background, such as with completed bachelors in computer science, in information science, in IT, and alike. This program is also super international. Like 90% of our students are international students, and all in all, we have more than 3/4 of students at European campus, at this international range, coming from more than 100 nations around the world. So it is absolutely diverse, very international, and very interesting family, as we think of ourselves. The program features a balanced mix of lectures and seminars. We have been doing a lot of hybrid activities, of course, recently due to the pandemic, understandably, but we also do case studies, we do lab training, and we provide also a project-based training where students are working on real-world digital health applications. They are basically developing digital health projects. This is currently a very important part of our curriculum. And of course, what we're also, how we are perhaps a little bit different to other study programs, we provide exposure for our students to global digital health community, because we are very much engaged with global digital health community. We have collaboration relations and very active ongoing collaboration with a number of European, German, Bavarian, German, European, and international organizations, such important organizations as, for example, the HIMSS, if you may have heard of it, Healthcare Information Management Systems Society, that has a membership base of more than 150,000 professionals around the world. And it could be mentioned that we are quite honored that we are one of the very few, if not to say one or two institutions in Europe and in Germany that have this so-called partner innovation exchange partnership with HIMSS. We're also institutional member to International Society for Telemedicine and eHealth, European Federation for Medical Informatics, International Medical Informatics Association. So all that obviously provides huge opportunities for all our students to get immersed in the world of digital health. A few words about the curriculum. I will not be spending a lot of time here. We call this curriculum convergence and divergence. We provide fundamentals of some information about medicine and healthcare for students coming from technical background. And of course, we teach also fundamentals in computer science and IT technologies to students who are coming with biomedical background. And there is a number of courses in healthcare, in digital health, as well as research and methodology and the so-called soft skills that are done by all. And eventually, the program also diverges with an opportunity for all students to specialize either in management and entrepreneurship in digital health, or in technological, more tech development of digital health. The career opportunities, we've already said, are enormous and are going to be, there will be ever increasing, obviously, demand for digital health specialists. There is absolutely no doubt about that. And the possibilities to work are multiple and in different aspects of digital health development, management, and implementation, ranging from data analytics or software development for digital health, or developing digital health applications, and all the way to research, to project management in education, for regulators, to hospital IT units, and others. Most and primarily, first and foremost, we always say that we think of our graduates as of innovators and future leaders in digital health. Just a slide showing our professional staff, and very, very friendly, very helpful professors working with us, as well as other teachers. Permit me not to mention names separately. That information can also be found on the website. Of course, we collaborate with international big names, as we mentioned, in the domain of digital health, ranging from, let's say, Professor Kalra, who is one of the world leaders in medical health informatics from UK, from University College London, to Professor Gupta in India, to Professor Skolnik from the United States, Professor Geddes from Norway, Professor Usomano from Brazil, or Professor Palikarakis from Greece. So we expose you, ladies and gentlemen, or we expose our students to such a constellation of world leaders in digital health that indeed, it could be said, will probably not be matched elsewhere. This is our collaboration partners, including the societies that we've mentioned, as well as a number of institutions, academia partners elsewhere. A couple of photographs just for you, a glimpse of our digital DigiHealth lab, training with real-world applications such as veloergometry, visit to real-world medical center, university medical center in Munich, where we visited before pandemic, obviously, but we look forward to continuing all these field trips. And these are our students in a real-world robotic operating theater. Quite an unforgettable experience was it for them, I should say. An example of a web lecture, an example of us visiting also major events. Just 2 months ago, this picture was taken in Berlin at DEMIA, the largest digital health congress. Next week, we're participating as a school with also several students joining us at another major meeting in Helsinki, Finland. So this is also an important part of our activities. Last but certainly not least, I invite you also to check the website of DigiHealth Day, which is our also landmark signature series of educational and scientific events running throughout, basically almost throughout the year, which will culminate on 11th of November with a single day international scientific symposium with also great minds coming and giving talks to our students as well as all other participants. We have approximately 650 attendees already subscribed to the DigiHealth Day. And finally, the website of the program. Please check it if you have not yet. And should you be interested, do not hesitate and do not waste time to apply. Thank you very much. That was my presentation on Masters of Digital Health. And with permission of the moderator, I don't know, should I proceed already with next study program that I want to present?
Mm-hmm. Yes, feel free, please.
Excellent. So this is going to be a program also in relation to health sciences and digital technologies in health sciences, but in a little bit different aspect. I hope you can see my presentation. And this is a master's program titled in Life Science Informatics. And I'm happy to present this program on behalf of my colleague, the coordinator, the head of this master's program, Professor Melanie Kappelman. So this is also a master's program, also running for 3 semesters, also with a start in winter semester. As you can see, there's a lot of similarities. There is also, just like with all our programs, there is basically no tuition fee. There is just a student service fee, 62 euros per semester. I guess that could not probably even be skipped. I mean, this information, because really we are tuition free by design, as you might know, in majority of study programs, in many study programs at public institutions, at least in almost all states of Germany, are free for all, essentially. This is also taught in English, and it is also a full-time study program. The admission requirements here are similar: completed studies in either natural sciences or informatics with a Bachelor of Science. Of course, English skills should be at a very high level. We require C1 level knowledge of English, both in this master's and in MDH, Master of Digital Health. In these masters, there is also requirement of knowledge of German at the level of A2. In MDH, there is no entry requirement of a German. It has to be also mentioned that students who have completed their previous studies in English, with English as a language of instruction, such as, for example, most of the students coming from English-speaking or largely English-speaking nations, such as India, or Bangladesh, or Pakistan, Nigeria, and of course also the native English-speaking countries, they are usually waived the requirement to present a certificate of C1 level of English. For LSI, Life Science Informatics, there is also an assessment test that needs to be completed. We do not have that in MDH. And for LSI, of course, it is good to have some basic knowledge in molecular medicine and some basic knowledge in programming prior to application. The contents of the program is seen here on this screen. The focus is in biomedical data analysis and the so-called next generation sequencing. So this is a more specialized study program that focuses specifically in bioinformatics, which means informatics, rather informatics or genomics informatics, with sequencing of a genome, working with the analysis of genomic data. We know that there is large amount of data that is gained from decoding of genetic material, and it must be processed and correlated in order to make it usable. And consequently, computer-based analyses identify and analyze genes that are predictive for the prognosis or response to therapy in a particular disease. This is the essence of life science informatics, or bioinformatics, or genomics informatics. And so this program requires or delivers medical and scientific knowledge in combination with application-oriented computer science knowledge. And you can see here a list of modules within that study program: biomedicine for a Bachelor of Science in Informatics, informatics for natural scientists. So again, there is the modules that augment the knowledge, needed knowledge, depending on whether student is coming from informatics or computer science background, or from natural science or health science background. And then there are, of course, modules like informatics, biostatistics, machine learning, data management, data mining, data visualization, life science, bioinformatics, and eventually, of course, master's thesis. There is practical lab experiences with also field trips in collaboration with University of Erlangen, one of the major universities in Bavaria. There's also collaboration with Institute of Molecular Pathology in Deggendorf, where this program is located. The students also get some invited lectures by companies, possibility of virtual lectures as well, or hybrid lectures, especially during or in immediate aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, there is also a possibility to gain some credits through related courses or internship at other universities. So the mobility between different universities is always a possibility with all study programs, essentially, at our university, pretty much the same way as at many other universities. And the master's thesis can be written either solo by the student or in cooperation with the related companies. The career prospects here are mostly around the, as we mentioned, genomics informatics, bioinformatics, and analysis of genomics data. It can be at universities, at pharmaceutical companies, at clinical or scientific research institutions, at specialized bioinformatics or biotech companies, so in a wider, larger biomedical industry. And pretty much as with with the first masters that we presented, MDH, this program also gives an opportunity to excellent graduates to continue doing research with us as PhD students. There is, of course, a requirement to have another institution as co-supporting, co-supervising institution for a PhD. But I have to mention that we already have, for example, if I'm not mistaken, right now we have 4 and 1 more coming. So probably all in all, we are going to have in a few months 5 PhD students, all of them, for example, graduates of our Masters of Digital Health. Okay, so for any questions, of course, we are available. The questions can also be asked directly to the program assistant, Ms. Bredov, Elizabeth Bredov, or via telephone, per email. And of course, our colleagues are also here to support you with answering any of your questions. On that, thank you for your attention, and I will stop sharing screen and will gladly give it over to my colleague who just joined us, Professor Thomas Spittler. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for, like always, great presentations. And you can see from the number of questions that people are really interested. But we will address the questions after also Professor Spittler does his presentation. By the way, welcome. Hello, Professor Spittler. Let me introduce also you to our audience. Yes, so we are staying in Deggendorf. We are not leaving. We are not leaving it. So we have now Professor Dr. Thomas Spittler, who will talk about health informatics. There was already a question related to the bachelor level studies. So here you are. Stay tuned. And yeah, Professor Spittler, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. And thank you very much for the opportunity that I can present the study program Bachelor Health Informatics. So let me just share my screen just a second, please. So today I want to introduce the Bachelor program Health Informatics, which is a program over 7 semesters. And it's not a master, of course, it's a Bachelor of Science at the end. And the language is, of course, in English. The program will also take place here in Pfarrkirchen at the European Campus Rotterdam. And I'm sure Professor Chaltikyan has already explained something about Pfarrkirchen and his campus, his great campus. So the first and most important thing what you will be interested in is, of course, how can you become a student here at the for health informatics at the European Campus Rotterdam? So the first thing is you need the preconditions. It's a German university entrance qualification. Then you have to apply until 15th of July. You need a written 90 minutes virtual test. So when you apply for the study program, you will be then informed about the day you can write the test. And after the test, please pass the test, and then we welcome you to the European Campus Rotterdam. So what are the fields when you study the program? So it's always important to think about what can I do afterwards with the program. And here you can be a system developer, you can be a system administrator for IT safety and security in healthcare, process manager, system analyst, an IT security manager, medical technology developer, a compliance coordinators. You can do clinical studies and telematics, e-health or digital health. And of course, you can then, after your bachelor program, think about a master like the Master Digital Health or Global Public Health, for example. So these are the most important things. So what will you learn here in the during this study program to become, for example, a system developer or to become a system analyst in the sector of health care? So you will learn how to deal with data, how to analyze data, how to work with data, how to create data. You will learn how to program, for example, some applications. You will learn programming languages like Python, how you can use them, and how do you how can you be a part of the progress of the digital transformation in the healthcare sector? Because in the near future, in the next 10 years, that would become a great process to digitalization in the healthcare sector. And you are then the woman or the man who will be part of this process. So you will learn it, how to deal with that. You will also learn some regulations, how to deal with regulations, how to the first understandings of law, that you can also, or that you will be also familiar with law. And of course, we will also discuss ethical problems. When you think, for example, about artificial intelligence, it's not always cool and fancy to use artificial intelligence. By the way, you will learn what it is, what it means. You will learn many use cases where you can use it. But you also have to think about the ethical aspect when using artificial intelligence in the sector of, in the domain of health. You will learn also the ethical aspects when you make data analysis. It's a very important part in the study program. You will be care about the sustainable development goals. So we have 17 sustainable development goals, and digitalization is a very important part to reach that development goals. And we will discuss also how can you be part of this process to reach the sustainable development goals. Furthermore, of course, we also, or you will also learn some economic parts and how to bring all your ideas for a future career. For example, you can not only work in a company who deals with telematics or with digital health, you can also create your own company. And we will give you some first informations and some first knowledge on how to create a startup, for example. Yeah, and of course, and this is also very important, you will be part of research. So I also want students to be part of a research project, and we already have research projects here on the European campus, Rotterdam. And here you will be part of it. On the one hand side, it could be that you make a short development for it, and you can also earn money here for that, or you make studies. We make studies together in a class, and of course, the content of the classes and on the lectures will be also from the content from the research projects. For example, now we have one to improve the healthcare in the rural area by using 5G and virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. And now we create a new course about the mixed reality, virtual reality. How can we use that in healthcare and for the healthcare, especially in rural areas? Yeah. Why to come to European Campus Rotterdam? It's internationally known due to the English degree programs already. It has a broad experience in virtual teaching, so some parts may be also in virtual parts. We have collaborative classes, for example, with Spain or with Finland or with Ireland or with Austria. We have virtual guest lectures, for example, from Norway, Ireland, Spain, and Finland. And we have a usage of specific equipment, as I already mentioned, for example, HoloLenses we have here, or Oculuses. So these are glasses for virtual or augmented or mixed reality. Yeah, and we have, we also offers, of course, excellent equipment here, for example, in the Digital Health and Smart Tourism Lab, where we have also lectures there that you not only learn in theory what to do, but you learn it by hand, yeah, how to use it. And this is a very important thing, I think. And the last one is, of course, the European campus is a multicultural, diverse family. So we are very welcome, and we invite you from all over the world to come to Verkirchen, to come to the European campus, and we welcome you here. So I hope I could tell you some or the most important things. It's only a first impression of the study program. You will learn much you have to work much. And by the way, of course, next to the content for the study program, Health Informatics, you will also learn how to speak German at a very low level, of course, but you will learn also a new language, which is German, but the content will be in English. So this is my very short presentation to that, and I welcome you to our European campus Rotterdam, and I hope you will join the bachelor program Health Informatics, and you will pass the very short test. Thank you very much for your attention.
Great. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. And let me now suggest you to jump into the questions directly. So I would invite Professor Spittler and Professor Chaltikyan also to turn on their cameras if possible, and we can address already some of the questions. Okay, let's start maybe first with Professor Spittler, as I have just received the question. So the slides for the Bachelor of Health Informatics indicate that the degree is Master of Science. Perhaps I missed something, but Professor immediately said that it is a typo. It should be Bachelor of Science. At the end, so you end up with you end up with the Bachelor of Science degree. So this was a typo, and Professor immediately said that. Okay, we can say it's answered. All right, Professor Chaltikyan made me delete most of the questions from my note because he addressed most of them during the presentation, but there are still some that
I'm sorry about that, Georgi.
It's fine.
I didn't mean to taking it over from you. I was just
you made my life easier, so thank you very much. But anyways, there were some of the questions that still are more or less open. So one of the questions was, and you said that you would address it later, about the difference between digital health and health informatics.
Would you permit me to share one slide?
Sure.
Yeah, so this is a slide that from keynote lectures that I from time to time give in different at different congresses, and the same slide we have also in our study program. So when you join us, you're going to learn more about the differences that are, I would not say the differences are critical. However, it is important to understand, as this diagram that we suggested demonstrates, e-health and digital health are more domains of practice, research, and development. These are scientific and practical domains, right? While medical or health informatics essentially is a scientific discipline that a lot in digital health and e-health, in telehealth and telemedicine is based on the scientific discipline of medical and health informatics. And we've just learned about life science informatics, which is also bioinformatics, as we mentioned, and there is also health telematics. Now, the differences are, these are differences in some terminology that have, of course, practical relation. And this is why we also, that was one of the motivation that we renamed our program from Masters in Medical Informatics to Masters in Digital Health, because we are not strictly limited to a scientific discipline of information science. Medical and health informatics is a scientific discipline in information science. Digital health is a wider concept because it is a domain of education, research, and practice. So because we also prepare our graduates quite frequently, I should say, taking managerial positions in driving digital health. That is why we think that digital health is more appropriate term with regard to our curriculum than the previous medical informatics. And we also, the program also underwent some changes to the curriculum. So we really focus on developing, on driving digital transformation of healthcare. which is a bit, I should say, above and beyond just becoming an informatics specialist. But the one, as you can see, there is a lot of overlaps. For example, we have modules and we have subjects in our program that are classical subjects of medical informatics, but we also have more and more management and, of course, research components. So all in all, like I said, those who come to learn what is digital health, what are the different components in digital health, and how do we nowadays understand, because there has been also a little bit of shift in this terminology, right? If some years ago, we were mostly speaking of e-health, like 10 years ago, and before that, historically, it was mostly telemedicine, but now there is this overarching domain umbrella term, digital health, which is based on scientific methods of informatics, but is not limited to scientific discipline of health and medical informatics. I hope I was able to describe it as much as it is possible within this kind of first impression webinar. More of that, if you want to learn more of those differences and much more, of course, come and study with us.
You did great, like always. Thank you very much for this comprehensive, quite comprehensive, at the same time precise answer. Let me ask you now, both, a question that was asked for you, both of you. So it's about admission letters. So the person asked when the admission letters will be sent after the decision, when I will know whether I'm accepted or not. Let me start with Professor Chaltikyan and then Professor Spittler.
Yeah, so the admission period, as we said, is open from between 15th of April and 15th of July. We already know that, and some of the students, some of the applicants, or some of the attendees in this event, as far as I understand, have already applied. Now, this is how it takes place. The admissions, the application packages are first processed by our staff, by our colleagues at the admission unit, let's call it, for you to make it easier, admission center, right? Then those processed applications are being sent over and evaluated based on different criteria by those who are responsible for the admission decision. As soon as the admission decision has been taken, the report goes to the admission center, admission unit, and message with some delay, of course, some organizational delay with a few days. Then the letter is being sent to the successful or unsuccessful applicant. So it is a continuous process. And of course, the earliest applications are then processed and evaluated earlier. The later applications, the later application period, the later they are evaluated. Now, for a person who, there is also another detail that you might want to know, that the positive admission decisions are being sent out immediately. For negative admission decisions, it can take a longer time. All in all, I should say that a little bit patience, and everybody, all those who are to be admitted in this year program should eventually receive their admission letters latest by, I should say, end of August, beginning of, end of July, beginning of August. Please understand that, as I mentioned, we have hundreds, or already close to thousands of applications, and it is not so easy to process all these applications at once. So it is a continuous process, and it might take some time to receive your admission decision. Especially, like I mentioned again, the positive decisions usually reach earlier compared to the negative decisions.
Okay, so if you are in the mid of August and you have not received your decisions, be positive about it. It means that you are maybe on a good track. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And Professor Spittler?
So it's quite similar. So in our case, the most important thing is here the admission test. So please apply for the study program, upload all necessary documents. They are required. So you read it, and that's very important. Then write the admission test. You can do it within the 14 days after you get the information that you can write it. And then you will be informed very soon. So usually between 14 to 28 days, you will be informed if you pass the whole process or if something is missing from the document side. So in most cases, there's something missing from the documents. So please upload as soon as possible all necessary required documents. This is the only thing I have to mention here.
Great. Thank you very much. I see a question, but it doesn't specify to which program this question is, but I suppose it's for Professor Spittler, because it was asked during your presentation, but let me read out and you will understand. So I understand that the minimum overall required IELTS score is 7.0. Does it apply to the subsections, listening, reading, writing, speaking too? For example, a score of 6.5 in writing with an overall IELTS score of 7.5. What are the career options for those from healthcare background? Nil knowledge of programming. Will it be beneficial to learn programming before or during the course of studies? Thank you.
So to the first part, they have to ask the persons of our application administration, because they know more about the language requirements. I'm unfortunately not so sure about the IELTS scores. So sorry for that. Perhaps Professor Chaltikyan knows more about it. Let me answer the second question, and then Professor Chaltikyan can answer perhaps the first question. The second question is, you're very welcome when you have a healthcare background. And it's not necessary that you learn something before. So for example, programming, of course, it will be a little bit helpful for you, but we start from the beginning. So you will learn from the first day how to program. So it's not necessary or mandatory to know it from the beginning, but of course I can require it because it's a little bit easier for you then. Hope that helps. Professor Chaltikyan, you can mention something.
Thank you, Professor Spittler. Yeah, this is a common framework which is shows the equivalence of different tests to the required C1 level. Now, for Bachelor Health Informatics, correct me, Professor Spittler, if I'm wrong, but to the best of my understanding, the required level is B2 in English. So correspondingly, you can easily find what is it. Now, our requirement for Masters in Master Digital Health and Masters Life Science Informatics, we require C1. Now, C1 corresponds to IELTS total score between 6.5 and 7.5. And there is no difference between the different sections. It's just the score, the overall final score should be above 6.5, between 6.5 and 7.5. And you can see also the other common language tests, how they correspond to this level C1 of the common European framework of assessing language knowledge that you are definitely familiar with, right? A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Okay, so that is about the language requirement. With regards to programming, Professor Spittler already said, so for Bachelor, there is obviously absolutely no requirement because the students learn a lot of programming during Bachelor Health Informatics. Now, in the Masters of Digital Health Masters in MDH, we obviously, as was said during the presentation, there is also augmentation courses in programming and in computer science IT to students with little or no computer science background, no IT background. Now, since it might not always be possible to prepare a graduate to make a student who has absolutely nil, as some of you put it, zero knowledge of IT or computer science or programming, to become professional programmer, right, or software developer during the 1.5 years of master's study, that might not always be possible. It is not an the all comprehensive goal of these masters, right? However, it is not impossible, because I have to say that some of our excellent graduates who came from purely medical background have obtained knowledge, skills, and competencies for them enough to take over leadership positions in digital health, in technical aspects of digital health. But we already mentioned that digital health, and that is the difference, again, one of the differences between digital health and medical informatics is that medical informatics is more an information science, right? While digital health is a wider field that includes not only technology, coders, people who write software, but first and foremost, those people who manage, who define policies, who develop digital health. And that is the important, at least half of our graduates go that way. And this is why we call this management track. However, if a student, even with zero IT background, is, working hard enough, and with our IT professors and colleagues who teach programming, and then chooses to take programming track of MDH, this is also absolutely possible. And that is, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, definitely did. Thank you very much to both of you for the answers. And so this is a question which also requires a bit long answer, but I'm sure Professor Chaltikyan will put it concisely, because it's about the transition path to PhD. From M.Sc Digital Health to the PhD, what are the options? To briefly tell Bernard.
I will try to be as concise as possible. Professor Spittler can also add a few words if I miss any detail, because we both now have our advisors or co-advisors, co-supervisors of PhD students. So like I mentioned already in my presentation, there are 4 to be 5 now PhD students who are actually graduates of our masters and who stayed with us, working with us, doing research. Now there is a requirement. As Georgi already mentioned in his presentation, the universities of applied sciences up to now are not able to confer a PhD degree. So hence, we do have PhD students, we have PhD researchers, doctoranden, as we say here, or doctoral students. However, the requirement is that there is another institution which is a research university, either in Germany or internationally, and we now cooperate, for example, with a university in Norway, with another university, research university in Bavaria, in München. We have collaboration opportunities with a wide range and very significant number of other schools. So that is a requirement. There must be a second institution, and of course, the student's PhD proposal or PhD work must be fitting that university and an advisor, a supervisor from that second external university, provided this is there. And of course, the students or graduates, as we mentioned, excellent graduates normally continue research and R&D working with us and in a PhD program. However, this is something that is very much promoted also now by the administration of the universities and also very, very welcomed. So the possibilities are there. And of course, as elsewhere, as anywhere, it depends also on the professionalism and the motivation of the student to continue research. Professor Spittler, if there is anything I missed.
Perfect. Perfect explanation.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Question to Professor Spittler. So the student asks, do I need to bring my original documents if I'm accepted to Deggendorf?
No, I don't think so, that you need the original. You upload it in the so-called Primus system. So it's a specific system here at the Deggendorf Institute of Technology, and then it should be okay.
Maybe our staff could kind of give final answer to this, but to the best of my knowledge as well, we do not. Yeah. I don't think we require hard copies.
Okay. And a question about the life science masters, life science informatics. So one of the requirements of the program was German proficiency certificate. Is it something that has to be sent with the application, or can be obtained maybe like a semester after one has enrolled?
No, I believe as long as it is a requirement, and everything should be clearly stated on the website of Life Science Informatics, on the application portal of Deggendorf Institute of Technology. Since it is as it is a requirement, I should say that this should be submitted with the application. But please double check with our staff, especially those responsible for study program Life Science Informatics.
Okay. And regarding digital health, there's two similar questions, more or less. So will the lectures be offered online in the coming winter semester, or will it be hybrid?
Yeah, it is, of course, a very relevant question, and very much depending also on the circumstances, as we understand, right? There are a lot of things that are beyond our control, such as, for example, the dynamics of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if the situation remains as it is now or improves further, we expect to resume, as we already resumed in this semester. Most of our activities are on-site. However, considering that many students, due to limitations, post-pandemic problems with obtaining visa and so on and so forth, might not be able to join us in time, I would say that the chances are very high that we will be doing hybrid lectures also in winter semester 2022-23.
Okay. Great. So let me see. I'm reading out the questions which have already been addressed several times. That's why I don't want to be repetitive again. Yeah, maybe this question, I don't remember it to be mentioned as the work experience as a requirement. But yeah, is work experience requirement in one of the programs that we presented? No.
It is not a requirement, but for masters, it is one of the criteria by which we base our admission decisions upon. Because for masters, we obviously also consider the total of the background of a particular applicant. So, of course, having some work experience in a relevant domain is definitely a plus, but it is not a strict requirement, which means that a student without work experience, based on other criteria, may as well get admission. And the other way around. Even a student with some work experience, based on, again, other criteria, which are a little bit too complex to describe everything in this webinar, and probably not needed. But the other also holds true. It's neither a requirement, not a guarantee of admission. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm. And this is all both for life sciences and digital health masters?
Yes, I guess it is both for life science informatics and certainly for digital health masters.
Okay, let us address then. Last question, which is Deggendorf question, not maybe particular program question, but Deggendorf question. So where can we get the information related to accommodation on campus and other administrative information for international students at Deggendorf?
Well, there is a lot of opportunities to connect with our excellent staff and look for these different possibilities. And all in all, I should say, Professor Spittler will definitely echo me saying that we have a very supportive staff with regard to accommodation and everything else. Professor Spittler, if you have any specific comments.
Yeah, the most important thing is, and you see it from our colleague Solange, that she has here inputted the accommodation link, so you can find here more information.
I also may just add that it is not only, so there are multiple opportunities for students beginning to look for accommodation. It's not even limited to website. There will be also, as soon as you are enrolled, of course, if you are enrolled. There are also social media groups where you can receive support not only from staff, but also from your peers and seniors, so that there is very active community, both online and also resumingly now also offline. So rest assured, you will certainly be supported in the best possible way.
Perfect. Thank you very much for all these answers. And yeah, let us call it as day already, because I can see that there are some more questions upcoming, but these were repeatedly already repetitive because we mentioned, and during the presentation they were mentioned already several times. But yeah, thank you very much, professors. As always, very informative and very professional, of course. Yeah, I know that there were some really general questions, and professors tried to give you as much concise answer as possible. But if you need more details about it, or if some other questions come up into your mind, Solange shared with you some contact information as well, where you can send these questions there and then get the answers either from the administrative staff or the professors themselves. So you'll see. And yeah, also, if you have any general questions regarding studying in Germany, of course, you are more than welcome to text us. You can see our email, info@mygermanuniversity.com, and I also put the email in the chat, so feel free. And we also will do our best to get back to your question as soon as possible. And yeah, it's always also nice to get feedback from you, and direct links to Facebook or Google are also there, and you can leave us a feedback about your concerns or about what you like, what we could improve in the future. So it's always appreciated. Yeah, so thank you very much once again for being so active to our attendees, and thank you, professors. Thank you, Solange, for helping me with moderating, and I wish you all the best for now. A very good evening or morning or afternoon also to everyone, depending where everyone is joining us from. Yeah,
take care. Thank you for having us. Thank you to the participants, and of course, thank you to the excellent team at MyGermanUniversity for, as always, excellent organization.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.